I've been coming to the realization that aggression comes from a lack of understanding of the world around you. And I mean a real, deep, authentic understanding. What I might call awareness. And awareness really tends to require a strong capacity to feel rather than to process mentally. And why do I say this? Well, oftentimes I have encounters that make me think a little bit. Today I was going to the donut shop down the street on my way home from work, and there was a guy standing outside that just something about him, something about his demeanor and the way he carried himself just threw me off a little bit. I felt slighted for no good reason. I mean, I just the way he carried himself is just not the way that I do, which doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the way I carry myself either, in my opinion. I mean, I may be a little biased, but anyway, he he was very vigilant, very which there's nothing wrong with, but it was to the point of feeling a little aggressive. It was borderline paranoid, which I understand is not something to take personally. He probably carries himself that way most of the time. It's who he is, and I'm nobody to judge where he stands. But yeah, I did feel a little bit taken aback, just a little bit. Then he walks in and he leaves his dog outside, who, lo and behold, carries himself in the same way, or her. I'm not an expert. Seemed like a guide dog, but who knows? Guy dog, not guide dog. Very sort of nervous, very, feeding off of his owner's energy. Well, I walk in and I decide not to really absorb that energy. I'm walking in calmly. I acknowledge the dog, but I don't give him too much attention. And as I'm getting in, the guy is coming out the door. Apparently, he was rushing out. I mean, he wasn't in there for very long, and he bursts out. He almost bursts out the door. And like I said, the energy he carried was very, very oppressive. If you ask me, I just something about it. He almost barreled through that door, and I got out of his way, and he didn't even acknowledge the fact that I got out of his way. Like there was no. I think it was just a social awkwardness. There was no. He probably didn't have the capacity to really acknowledge me, or what I was trying to do. So like I said, he just kind of barreled through and didn't even look at me. Like I try to make eye contact just to kind of. I guess I was trying to assert control because he was being very, very shaky, very, like I said, not aggressive necessarily, but very. He carried a lot of nervousness, a lot of emotional turmoil. And I was trying to sort of neutralize that. I was trying to control the situation a little bit. I wasn't going to let him really I wasn't going to allow him to become a concern for me. But I, did want to put him at ease just a tiny bit. He just was not there. I've come to realize that people that carry that nervous energy, they're just not really present at all. I mean, he didn't even turn to look at me. Like he sort of it almost felt like he was brushing me off intentionally, but I don't think he was. I think he just was somewhere else. He was on another planet, which I shouldn't say that because I use that as an insult. I use it. There's somebody in my family who's a heavy drug user, and I very dismissively say that he's never around. He's always off on some other planet, because he's on drugs a lot of the time. So I try to not use that phrase too much with anybody because to me it's a bit of an insult. Anyway, to bring this rant to a close, there must have been a point that I was trying to make here, and yeah, it's basically I made a realization today, which I think is a realization that I've made before today, but it just I wasn't really consciously aware of it, which is that aggression is really like a lot of things. It can be deceiving. It's not what we think it is. Oftentimes, it's actually it can come from quite the opposite. It can come from a place of a lack of presence, right? So aggression is a very strong presence, right? It's a very in your face sort of thing, and it comes from um, a total opposite end of the spectrum. And I think it's a balancing act. I think aggression comes from trying to balance the books, so to speak. It often comes when a person is not present, and the world kind of lets them know, finds a way to. Oftentimes, when we're not really aware, when we're not really present of what's going on around us, the world reacts. When we're not taking care of our responsibilities, when we're not um, doing what we're supposed to be doing, handling business, so to speak, the universe finds a way to let us know. And if we're not equipped to take that criticism, we can react violently. So that's why I think it's important. I like to stress being aware and being present and being in the moment. And that's going to bring my rant to a much needed conclusion after 7 minutes. If anybody's still watching, I I guess I appreciate you, and sorry for drawing this out. I didn't mean to. 8 minutes. 8 minutes.